And so sooner or later, we're going to catch him.
It's an unsolved crime that haunts Jefferson County Sheriff Zena Stevens and the two lead investigators, the homicide of Cordy Simmons. The Beaumont woman was the victim of an awful attack.
It was a horrific crime in 2016 where we got a report of a body in the middle of the road, and that when we got there, the body was on fire. And so it's important to note that these are not just cases or crimes. These involve families. These involve human beings, people that have loved ones. And so not only is it about solving those cases, but it's about giving some sort of closure to families who may have a loved one that they can't explain what happened to them.
On October 26, 2016, one day before her 41st birthday, Cordy Simmons' burning body was found on Old Sour Lake Road between Meeker and Keith roads, just outside the Beaumont city limits in Jefferson County's jurisdiction. Detective Daniel Powell, a 22-year veteran with the sheriff's office, is one of the lead investigators.
The first 6 months of the investigation, we started running out of leads, no suspects. Then we started determining who the suspects were. Without a confession, we turned to science, which is DNA.
But turns out, Detective Powell says DNA would not provide any answers either.
It came back insufficient male DNA. So we had nothing to go off of at that time. Well, as the years progressed, we did something called Y-star. Y-star is extracting the Y chromosome from the actual insufficient DNA, which at this time, we had the Y chromosome, but we didn't have a match to that Y chromosome. Then a couple years later, we went to genealogy.
Powell says genealogy did help clear part of the investigation.
We were able to, with the suspects that we had, we were able to rule them out as the suspects in this case.
Now, nearly 8 years later, Sheriff Stevens says the investigation is ongoing and remains a priority.
I can tell you, when you see Daniel, when he started on this case, he had black hair, and it's gray now. And so it's about sometimes bumping your heads against brick walls. It's about sharing, what you think happened. And everybody doesn't always agree, right? And so it's about sitting down and going over lots and lots of documents, talking to many people.
So what do we know about the victim, Cordy Simmons?
Cordy she was a mom. She was somebody's daughter. She lived a different lifestyle than most. She's a fighter, so she's just not gonna let anybody mess with her. And she worked. She was a working woman. Not just little, at the convenience store. She did hard labor, right there at the shipyard. So we know she was a hard worker, and her life was pretty hard.
And her final hours were viciously violent.
It wasn't the fire that killed her. Maybe when somebody set somebody on fire, that's to get rid of evidence. So we knew at that time that there's probably going to be a sexual assault that occurred at that time. Somebody trying to cover up, their evidence, their DNA.
Sergeant Chad Williamson has been with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office for 15 years. He's the other lead investigator working the Simmons case.
At this time, what we know is she was in the south end of Beaumont. It was the last time she was seen. She was in the south end of Beaumont, and how she ended up on Sour Lake Road, that is not known.
Detective Powell says Simmons' remains offer a glimpse into what happened.
What we have learned is that there is more than one crime scene. There's probably about 3 crime scenes that are out there, but we only have one crime scene. So she was beaten, and she was taped up, her mouth with duct tape, which caused the asphyxiation.
Several crime scenes, and these investigators suspect more than one person involved.
She's a fighter. She's not going to let somebody do this to them, so I don't know if I'm speaking out of line, but yeah, I believe there's more than one actor.
I believe that there is somebody out there that knows something about this case, for the main fact that we know that people are not quiet about the things that they do. And I believe that somebody out there does know, does have information, and we would like to know that.
And these investigators are ready to pursue any lead at any time to anywhere it takes them.
Whenever we're handed a case like this, it consumes our lives. As far as the minute we get to work, we are working on this case the minute we stop, and we're not able to stop until all leads are completely investigated. So therefore we think about these things even whenever we're home. And whenever we're home, if we get a call, then we'll leave our homes, we'll leave our families, and we'll go out and we'll investigate the lead.